Spider-Man is swinging back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's all because of you. Disney co-chairman Alan Horn and Sony Pictures chairman Tom Rothman recently took part in a roundtable discussion in which they agreed that if not for pushback from fans, this summer split, which temporarily saw the wall crawler ousted from the MCU, might have remained permanent. If you'll recall, Horn and Rothman managed to hammer out the finer points of a deal, which will allow Tom Holland's Peter Parker to appear in at least one more solo film set in the MCU, as well as one additional as yet unnamed Marvel Studios picture. When it was reported in August that Sony and Disney, Marvel's parent company, had failed to reach an agreement to extend their shared custody arrangement of old Webhead, fan backlash was instant and furious, and this, said Horn, was ultimately what convinced the involved parties to get a deal done. Horn explained, "The fanbase, which is important to all of us, seemed to really respond to what Tom and his folks have done before with our people. They liked the fact that the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Studios head honcho Kevin Feige were involved in Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. We heard feedback out there that suggested that joining forces once again was probably really a good idea."
Why don't you try that on? And I'll introduce the world, the newest official member of the Avengers, Spider-Man.
Horn apparently is a master of understatement. Twitter absolutely exploded in the wake of the news that Sony and Marvel were divorcing, with a large chunk of fans simply beside themselves with shock and grief. Holland himself did his best to console them during an appearance at Disney's D23 Expo the following weekend. And it may have been during that event that the young star, upon seeing just how much his version of the character meant to Marvel's fans, decided upon a course of action that few in his position would be gutsy enough to take. He reportedly got in touch with Disney CEO Bob Iger, one of the most powerful people in the world of entertainment, and told him in no uncertain terms that he needed to get Sony back to the table. Then he allegedly put in a call to Rothman to tell him the same thing. Improbably, the ploy didn't backfire ridiculously. Holland kept his job, the two sides got back together, a deal was struck, and the fans rejoiced. Spider-Man is back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But now, fans have another question. For how long? Are Spidey's days really numbered?
You are a criminal, a menace, and the good people of this nation will squash you like the bug you are!
Whether the deal will continue after Spidey completes his MCU solo film and team-up appearance is a giant question mark. But given the fact that there are tons and tons of box office bucks to be made by keeping fans happy, we tend to think that it's more likely than not. Of course, the question was put to Rothman during THR's roundtable, and while he didn't enthusiastically answer in the affirmative, he also didn't say no. And it's pretty obvious that he recognizes the value of the partnership. The query was framed in an odd way, with the interviewer mentioning that Sony has, quote, shown it can do Spider-Man without Marvel, by way of the Oscar-winning animated film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Rothman responded, "Yes, we have, but I agree with Horn. This was a classic win-win-win. A win for Sony, a win for Disney, a win for the fans. The only thing I would say is that news cycles and the rhythm of negotiations do not necessarily overlap. And this is, in the words of Shakespeare, a consummation devoutly to be wished. We would have gotten there and the news got ahead of some things." There's actually quite a bit to unpack in that statement, not the least of which is Rothman's apparent Shakespeare fandom, and his seemingly disingenuous suggestion that the media got ahead of the negotiations, as most details that was being reported was coming directly out of the mouths of the involved parties. In September, Sony CEO Tony Vinciquerra went so far as to say the, quote, door was closed on Spidey's return to the MCU. He said at the time, "Spider-Man was fine before the event movies, did better with the event movies, and now that we have our own universe, he will play off the other characters as well. I think we're pretty capable of doing what we have to do here." Thankfully, the fan backlash and Holland's timely intervention pushed the studios back together, and now that they're back in business, it seems unlikely that anyone involved will be keen to go through such a trying public ordeal again. Feige has in the past teased his willingness to consider crossing over or even merging Sony's budding cinematic universe with the MCU, because even before the whole kerfuffle, he knew that Iger, Horn, and Rothman had to learn the hard way. Spider fans like their web-slinger right where he is.
What are you doing? Oh, this is nice.
Spidey's as yet entitled third MCU solo outing hits the big screen on July 16th, 2021. Fingers crossed that it delivers on that Far From Home cliffhanger. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.